Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody is having a phenomenal start to their week. Welcome to our weekly show. This is our third week back since we took our summer break. We relaxed, we did some self-care, and we prepared a whole lot for the coming year. So we're super excited to have you guys all here tonight. As a reminder, per always, as you see the numbers scrolling across the screen, if you or anyone you are in, I don't know, you're in every day work with them. You don't like them. They're your friends. They're your foes. They're your bosses, your frenemies, your enemies, your kids, whoever it is that you know that may be dealing with or tolerating domestic violence. And you want them to have this information. Have them reach out to 1-800-799-7233. They can also reach us at loveshouldnothurt.com. We will have a new website soon. But for now, you can reach us there. Remember that if you cannot get in contact with us, within 24 hours, you can also dial 911 and always reach out to the hotline. We're excited today because we have Amanda Peguero back today with us. Hello, Daisy. I see you. It has been a while. Miss Thing has been traveling all over the world, enjoying her summer, getting her tan together, self-care, relaxing, but we are now back in the mix, and Amanda is here with us, and we're super excited, especially because of the conversation we are going to have tonight with all of you. So I'm excited to have her back because when she is here, we have nothing but energy in the room and on the screen. So join us today. If people who are around you are not watching, bring them, tráelo para acá so they can watch, grab a glass of wine or water, whatever you prefer, and join us tonight for the conversation. I don't know what she's drinking, but she's drinking something backstage. I can see it. And she's laughing. So I'm going to bring Amanda on today. Wepa!
Hola, mi gente. What's up? It's been a minute.
It has. I'm laughing because I said water, and then I saw you sip. I said, oh, wait, she may not have water.
I do have water. It's in my Yeti, my favorite cup, but it is definitely water.
That means it's cold. It's in your Yeti. Oh, man. Well, tonight we are talking about all things getting my voice back. A lot of people are just always asking me, how did you get your kickback? How did you get back on your feet after everything you went through? You went through it for so long in different relationships, whether it was personal, interpersonal, family, whatever. And it took me a while, right? It still takes me moments now to bring myself back and get my voice back. But slowly, but surely, I'm getting my voice back in a lot of different ways. Excuse me if my voice goes in and out. I've been struggling with my voice for the past week. So if I'm scratchy or I go in and out, I'm having issues. So tonight, Amanda, we are excited and we are always like trying to harass you to get on here. What do you think about tonight's topic before we get into it?
So just like I always say this in the show, I think people think that we like sit down and have this huge powwow about like what we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually like, hey, what's your schedule like? Are you available? And this is a topic I'm thinking about. I thought you would be the right person to talk about this. And I'm always like, well, do you want me to prep? Like, is there something you want me to prep? And she's always like, no, just come and be yourself and talk about, what you think. So, but what I love about it is that usually we have a couple weeks in between. So I ponder on like what it is that I've experienced through my career, what it is that I've seen clients go through, and even like what my family and friends that are, close to the topic have gone through. And the one thing that stood out to me is, and I think I want to emphasize that a lot, is finding and loving self, right?
Okay.
Because getting your voice back is about standing up for yourself, right? And advocating for yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like even in the things you would read online or even just the conversations you have with people, you will hear like, I was told I couldn't do this. I was told I couldn't do that. And because you get so used to being told what to do, when someone's not there to tell you what to do, like the simplest of things, you kind of like forget how to do that. It's almost like people, it's like riding a bike in the sense that once you find it, it's going to be like, oh, I know how to do this.
Yeah.
But if you never got past the training wheel stage of riding a bike, you're always going to feel like you need the training wheels, and the training wheels is that person controlling you. Y'all know I love my analogies, so bear with me, right? So if you only, let's say you were a very young age, and in a very young age, you were in this relationship and this person always told you what to do, how to do it, when to do it. Imagine those as training wheels on a bike. So that's how you learned to use your strengths, your abilities, your skills, which include your voice. And
Yeah.
then now all of a sudden you have no training wheels and you completely find yourself falling, getting bruised, feeling like I'm not good enough. I don't know who told me I could try this by myself,
Yeah.
and finding yourself a bit lost. So I think that today the one thing that I want to emphasize as we keep talking is that ultimately getting your voice back is about finding yourself, who you are and who you love to be. Because when you love yourself, ain't nobody stopping you.
I I love to hear you speak about what we're talking about because you always say it a lot better than I do. And I think that's my segue into this. I think that's because of who you are and what you do. And I have to remind myself that not everybody who comes on here remembers who Amanda is. So very briefly, tell us what you do. Tell us your experience and why we think you're this phenomenal Latina.
Well, like my girl likes to says, your girl's got credentials, right? So I am a licensed professional counselor in the state of Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I've been working in the field for over 20 plus years.
Mhm.
I specifically love, I'm going to use that word is trauma. So I've worked with all types of trauma, from physical, verbal, sexual, to domestic violence. I've worked with all kinds, from children all the way to elderly, and it really was my passion. I then moved on to working with not accompanied, unaccompanied minors that were detained at the border. And that I also found a love for that as well, because it's a different kind of trauma. And a lot of them actually come with a lot of history of witnessing domestic violence
Mhm.
in their home countries. And then now I basically work in the community that I've always worked in since I moved to Philadelphia, with some middle schoolers. And it is always, I don't know, there's something about working with children that always empowers me and makes me feel like I was put here to do good. I've always say that. So I
Mhm.
was put on this earth to do good. And I just find myself in situations where there's always a need. And it's not like I come in and fill it. It's just that I come in and bring in some sunshine. That's how I look at it.
She does bring sunshine, people. If you know Amanda, she brings sunshine to the room. So we're excited to have her here. And that is another reason why we love to have her here, because not only does she bring us some good conversation, but she also brings some good experience with her that can kind of connect us with the things that we talk about. So we love to have her here to give us that kind of clinical and like just experience conversation. I can only talk about what I've experienced, and she can talk about what she's dealt with in that experience. She's had clients who've dealt with domestic violence. So she is the ample person to have on this show. Getting your voice back is absolutely something that comes with a lot of difficulties. A lot of times we hold on to, like you said, someone else controlling how we speak, how we maneuver our day to day. And then when that is gone, we're kind of like trying to figure out all over again. Like I stopped riding my bike for 15 years when I was a kid, and now I have a bike and I want to exercise. How do I ride it? And it's like, all right, let me get back on it and see how I like get myself up there again. I kind of feel like that's what I've done in different varieties throughout my life, right? So I feel like I've fallen off and get right back on that bike again, and then years have passed, and I fell
Mhm.
off again, and I got right back on it. I've gone through a most recent journey of that right now, right? I just changed everything about my life in the past 2 months. I literally ended a toxic relationship. I left, a building where I hated and I didn't want to live in that environment because I just felt unhappy. And I left the job and I started a brand new job that I have no idea what I'm doing, but I've changed it because I decided to change, as Amanda would tell me, change my narrative.
Mhm.
So, and she's told me that plenty of times. So I feel like I'm starting to get my voice back once again. I've lost it along the way and I've gained it back. So it was exciting for me to be able to talk about this today because I think it brings, especially with Love Shouldn't Hurt, a lot of personal things. I think a major way of us bringing our voices back and being able to express to the community that we got our kickback, right, was our documentary. We literally told the world, this is what happened to us, and I'm going to talk about it. And that was our way of officially getting our voices back, because for so long we were just shut in those comments. I see all of you coming in and I'm excited. Hello, Nancy, Jennifer, Liana, Dorothea, Marilyn, Esther. Hello, everyone. We're excited that you're here. Listen, while you're here, please participate. If you want to comment on what we're talking about, please do, so that we can have that dialogue with you and ask questions and comments, whatever it is, so that we can talk to you tonight.
Can I
So
bring something up?
you can, absolutely.
So as you were talking, as you were speaking about the bike analogy, I thought of something, right? So you haven't ridden your bike in 15 years and you said, and then I get on it. But did you just get on it? Or did you stare at it for days and days and days? And like, I can get on that. Like me, I can't even touch it. Like I can't even get near it.
Yeah.
Right. So I want folks to know like there's stages to this. This isn't
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? Yes, you just wake up one day and you go, today's the day, but it's been days of contemplating and contemplating and contemplating. If anyone is interested, and they do them for free in the city of Philadelphia all the time, but there's trainings called motivational interviewing, and it talks about the different stages of us making change in our life. There's books on it. There's probably TED Talks on it. You can look up, but it's about like it doesn't happen that one morning you wake up and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to change my life." It's about I have to prep myself for all the negative talks and thoughts that I've told myself or other people have said to me that I now need to break through before I actually get to even an action step, which would be getting on the bike.
Yeah, absolutely. So I sent you a few articles, people, because even though we do just throw this together, and I wanna preface this by saying we do that because I want people's honest reactions to what we're talking about. I don't like scripted. I don't like this is what we should say because I think, especially knowing Amanda as well as I do, my girl has some amazing thoughts, right? And you can put her in a room and you can ask her a question, and then you'll be at the end of it, you're like, damn, like she really put that in perspective.
I be impressing myself. I'm gonna tell y'all
Yeah.
this. Sometimes I be like, damn, that was deep, girl.
That
Anyway.
was good. So I like doing it this way, but we do like to have a little bit of background. So I did send Amanda a few articles on people who are getting their voices back, and I kind of want to skim through that. But before we do that, I don't know how many people on here have ever seen our documentary or come out to any of our events just to know what's going on. So I want to play a little clip of me getting my voice back. Let's see what that looks like tonight. Let's get there because it's far down.
In 6 years of abuse that I knew, this is over. This man will never put his hands on me again. I will never let him hit me again. And that wake-up call only came when the police came and my 3-year-old said to the police officer, Daddy hit my mommy. He hit my mommy so hard, my mommy just fell. That was my wake up. I knew that all the abuse I had dealt with and all the times I said that I was gonna leave, none of that came close to the pain I felt hearing my 3-year-old say that. He never put his hands on me again.
Ooh, look, my eyes are watery. Every time I see that documentary, I like get teary-eyed because it's in the power of getting our voice back.
Yeah.
That day was, let's put this documentary together. We need to do something important for our community. And literally the people who came into the room, our photographer, our videographer, Marilyn, who's on here, our makeup person, Ray, who got us the space. We all went in there like, yes, we're going to do this. I had gifts for everybody. I ordered food for everyone. We were all excited. The music was playing. We had playlists playing. And then the camera started rolling and there was utter silence. No one spoke for literally 3 hours as we listened to myself, Zulma, and Jackie tell our story. And we all had tissues. Literally by the end, we all hugged each other. The photographer was like, I can't believe you ladies did this. And it was such a powerful evening. And it brought each of us, I can't speak for everyone, but I know that in the conversations after that, everyone was like, oh my God, I've never sat down and fully told my story. And it just was a matter of coming up and saying, I got to let that go. I have to release it. And we did that. And that was the start of many of us getting our voice back. So something that I want to bring out, a comment that I saw in one of the articles was lose your voice, lose yourself, which I feel like I did so many times, so many times. So there was 3 different articles, and one of them was 7 ways to get your voice back. And there was 7 different ones, and I chose just a few to tap into because I know Amanda's gonna have something good to say. So the first one was give yourself permission to feel again. Allow yourself to feel again, which I think it's just difficult for anybody to, right? You leave any type of trauma, right? Sexual abuse, molestation, anything. You close yourself off to the world. You close yourself off to relationships with men, with family, with different people, and you don't allow yourself to feel that. You go into every new relationship feeling like the last one was the model for what it was going to be. Um, and I think it took a long time for me to feel that love again. And I can't talk about your personal story because I can't, I'm not the author of that story, but I think all of us have had relationships of this kind, even if they weren't domestic violence, just allowing ourselves to feel again. So what is your take on that? Give yourself permission to feel again. What do you feel from that? What do you get from that?
So two things. Two things about everything you just said. The first thing is that your comment about when you shared your story and that everyone was kind of like muted. That itself tells you the power of the impact of what you lived, right? That people who didn't live it with you in that moment are almost like taken back and lose their voice. Not long term, right? But
Right.
momentarily, because it's almost like their breath is taken away. And not
Yeah.
in those like, oh my God, a romantic story. No, it's one of those like someone sucked it out of you because it's
Mhm.
so intense. So I
Yeah.
would say that um, finding your voice and finding yourself is going to take. I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning. I'm going to be a broken record tonight, y'all, because after reading the articles and thinking this through, it's really about how do I become the person that I am now
Yeah.
and not live based on my experiences from the past,
Yeah.
right? Because the past doesn't make me, but it does influence me. So, like you just said, right? I was in a relationship, they broke my heart, they beat me up, they stole my money, whatever the layers of like abuse that occurred does not mean that that is your story and that is your history. Right? You have the ability to rewrite it, but it first comes with that acceptance. And I think someone wrote a comment of like, you telling your story is part of the healing process, most definitely, but not doing it too fast. And what do I mean by that, right? Telling your story for the benefit of other people isn't going to give you what you need.
Yeah.
Telling your story because you are ready to release it is giving, that's when you're going to start that healing process. A lot of
Yeah.
times we think like even our families and friends are going to push our clients or our survivors of domestic violence to like go to a group and go to this, and that's all great. Not in any way saying that's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You can go and sit down and not say a word because you are going to benefit. But going there and being pushed to talk about something you're not ready about is, again, replacing the person who was telling you what to do in a negative way with someone who's trying to do it in a positive way, but still you're being told what to do. And then
Yeah.
you're not finding what it is that you need. So figuring out, what is it that I need? Where do I start? What do I love to eat? We've talked about this in other, when we're talking about relationships or whatever. What do I love to eat? Where do I like driving? Which direction do I like driving in? You know what I mean? What times of days do I enjoy driving? To how do I like to be touched? How do I want to be in an
Yeah.
intimate relationship with someone?
Yeah.
You don't know none of these things because you've always been told. That's part of your voice, right?
Mhm.
Being able to say like, I like avocados, I like mangoes, I don't like them together. I don't think they should be a salsa. Like, you know what I mean? Like those are things that we take for granted,
Yeah.
right? To the point that you can go to Dunkin' Donuts and they give you the wrong coffee and you'll just suffer and drink it because someone told you just drink it. That's what you ordered. Versus going in and being like, no, that's not what I want. I want X, Y, and Z, and that's how I expect to get it.
See, I told y'all when she breaks stuff down, you'd be like, "Ah, I got it." I like the mango and the avocado thing. She full of analogies, Lau.
It's my favorite thing. I think that in life, right? I think that we communicate sometimes, and I say this all the time. I have the communication level of a sixth grader. Doesn't mean I can't sound intellectual, right? But I don't want to have to worry about getting everybody at any level to understand me. I want to be able. So for me, Amanda, I don't like to repeat myself. So why don't you speak in terms that people understand?
Yeah.
So that's something as simple as understanding that, like, I want to be able to be a soft-spoken person. If that's who you are, just because you found your voice doesn't mean you have to be loud like us and, speak with your hands like we get very Latina. Like, you don't got to do that. You could be very calm, you could be very collective. It's just about finding out who you are and being comfortable in your skin, so that regardless of what someone says back, like, that's their opinion. Allá ellos. This is me, and this is what I need, and this is what I'm going to do. And then, of course, we're going to talk, but there's other things that you're going to get yourself there to be. But I think the first thing I would say is self-analysis. Who am I? What am I? Where am I? Right? When am I going to be these things? How am I going to be these things? Not for my children, not for my new partner, not for my job, but for me, for I. And I think that sometimes we miss that mark. Who am I? Answering that and asking yourself that until you believe it. Looking in the mirror and being like, yo, you a baddie, girl. Like, whatever it is, or like, I don't feel good about myself today, but today I'm going to conquer. Whatever it is, like, it's really about having that conversation with self. And I could keep going. So I'm going to like.
I appreciate the banter. Another few things they said were trust yourself. You can still make good decisions and you can still trust your gut and your instincts. I think a lot of times we feel like because we think, oh my God, I should have realized that. Or my stomach told me, my gut told me he was a bad guy, but I still dated him. So then when we move on from it, we're just like, oh, I don't know if I could trust my gut because look where it led me. Look where I ended up. So learning that you can trust yourself again. Another thing is taking care of your physical and mental self. A lot of times when we're going through those situations, moments like what I just most recently went through happen. A lot of people do not realize that. A lot of people are like, oh my God, she runs this organization and she must be great. But they don't realize that it's still, it's for me, it's a lifetime thing. It's a lifetime of learning and growing through it. And I just left a very, very toxic relationship where though I was still running this organization, I didn't realize how toxic it was because the interactions were totally different. But I, within the past year, gained a lot of weight. And I was like, where did this come from? And it says, when I read the article, take care of your mental, take care of your physical. And I'm like, I stopped working out. I stopped going to the gym because I just was self-destroying myself. I just was mentally, I was like, I'm never going to be where this person says that I need to be. I mentally, I wasn't sleeping. I literally would wake up and I would pace my room back and forth. But I just thought that's just anxiety. And now that I've stepped out of that zone, I sleep like a baby. I'm starting to lose the weight again. And I'm seeing myself become the Christy that I know that I was prior to this toxicity. I'm seeing that now I have a voice. Another thing that it says is speak up for yourself, which is huge because during that time, we're not speaking up for ourselves because if we're in these situations, we feel like I'm in it. This is what he wants. Sometimes because of the situation you're in, you don't speak at all, right? It's like you walk into the room. I know that if I say this, it's going to make him mad. So I'm not going to say it. He did this wrong, but I'm not going to say it because it's going to start an argument. And we don't speak up for ourselves. And that's another learning process I'm learning now is to speak up for myself. Within the last year and a half, I've learned to start speaking up for myself. Sometimes people aren't appreciative of that change in me. They don't like that I'm speaking up for myself. They're offended by me speaking up for myself. But it's something that I've learned along the way. And I've learned it from, I forgot what it is we called each other that day. It was me, you, and Evelyn. And we said that we needed something about a circle. But I have people in my circle who put me in my place, people. She's one of them. They put me in my place and they tell me when I'm wrong. But, we need those types of people so that we can wash out the other types of people who have put all the negativity. They're trying to help us and guide us in the right way of getting our voices back and being that positive person because somebody spent a whole lot of time changing who we are as a person. Getting the support is another thing that they say. Reach out to people who can help. Programs, counselors, even friends. People who are going to give you love. Sometimes that's what you need, right? What they say, like a little bit of love goes a whole long way. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they need just that check-in and getting our voice back. All of that is a part of it. Being able to say for so long, I say this out when we did the showings all the time because people say, you went through that abuse for 6 years and your parents didn't help. Your sisters didn't help. It wasn't that they didn't help. They would have if they knew. But my mouth was shut and I said nothing to no one. Now knowing if I'm going through something, speaking up so I have the people there who can help me at that time. Knowing you're not alone was the last thing in that 7 count, and sharing your story. And I think that's a major thing for a lot of people. And I've learned that with doing Love Shouldn't Hurt. A lot of people have come up to me. They know that we're working on our second documentary, and they're like, I've watched you guys for almost 4 years, and I'm ready. I'm ready to tell my story. I'm ready to let it out. I'm ready to make him responsible. I have held it in for so long that I'm like worried about his image or anything, but this is my story to tell. So I feel like that's another part of just getting yourself back. I'm not sure what your feedback is from that. I'm going to hear what you're going to say, because we're almost at the 30 mark already.
Like, you just dumped all this stuff and didn't give me. So, I'm going to ask you to repeat a couple of them as I go. But the first one that I think you said was trust yourself, and that's the hardest one. I'm going to say all the other ones can be a little bit easier because of the fact of what you said, right? I didn't make the right choice. I didn't see the signs. I was so deep in it. I couldn't get out. So I don't trust my ability to make decisions. So the first thing I'm going to say is be kind to yourself. And what I mean by that is, even when you find full trust of yourself and you feel yourself being stronger, you're going to make decisions that aren't going to rear the outcome that you think is going to rear, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to go through that. And it's about learning to go through the process. I've said this a million times, right? The only way to get through something is through it. You can't go over it. You can't go under it. You can't avoid it. Like, you have to go through it, which means difficult conversations, difficult feelings, uncomfortability amongst people. Like, you're not going to always feel comfortable around people, and being able to figure out, what do I do in those times that I don't feel comfortable, rather than just allowing yourself to be there because you're trying to appease or please someone else in your life. Being aware not to replace the person who has put you in that predicament by someone else who just is dressed in a nicer attire, or they don't got on a wife beater like you see on music videos or whatever. The abusers in a wife beater, stained and like coming from work, or in a mechanic jumpsuit. Like, no, this person can be in a suit and tie, in a fabulous couture dress. Like, this person that's abusing another person does not have a cookie cutter shape or model. So trusting that you're going to do the best that you can to do what's best for you. Secondly, be aware of your weaknesses. I say this a million times when people ask me about how I worked on being a clinician and my skills. I said, the first thing I learned was, what were my weaknesses? And then I started working on sharpening them. And then there's some of them that are just like, I can't get around them, right? So then I have to be aware of them so that other people don't use them against me.
Yeah.
Right. And if I see that they're trying to use them against me, and I teach this to clients all the time, what do you think is one of your weaknesses? Some folks go, I'm too loving, I'm too kind, I'm too kind-hearted. And then people take that advantage of that. And by the time I notice that they took advantage of me, I'm like hurting or in pain, physical, emotionally, and mental pain. I'm financially in debt. Like, so all these things are things that, as you grow in each relationship, you should not be fooled again and fooled again and fooled again, but you will. And it's okay. It's about how you get back up. How do you get up from that second or third and fourth time? It's really about that. I think you said finding support. That one is available. The thing is, to the support folks. So this is to the support folks. Just because you're sharing your thoughts, your ideas, your beliefs, does not mean that person is ready to hear it. Or to take action steps. So ChristinA just said, oh, they checked me or whatever. That don't mean she be listening. Don't think that I don't get frustrated with her. Right. So, she said earlier, change the narrative, because that just became now my spiel. Rather than me getting upset with her or angry at her, I would just be like, girl, change the narrative. Right. Because at this point, I've fed you or given you my support. And this is for everyone, even with my clients. How do we change the narrative? How can I support you in helping yourself? Because I can't do it for you. I can't give you my voice. I actually thought, really quickly, because I know we're at the half mark.
No, you're fine.
When I was pondering this topic, I thought of the movie The Little Mermaid, right? And how, she lost her voice, but the entire remainder of the movie, she's working on getting her voice back. Right. And she doesn't quit until she gets it. And I know a lot of people say this is a fairy tale. She's actually going after the prince and all that. Yes, that's all Disney. Great. but she didn't value her voice at some point and thought it was more important to chase the prince than to keep her voice, and then found herself that without her voice she wasn't who she was,
That's a
right?
good one.
You think about yourself like this, like, who are you with your voice versus who you are without it, and who
Yeah.
do you want to be moving forward? Because it really, that's what it comes down to. Do you want to be a person who is kind of just unsure and not settled in who they are and what they are? Or do you want to be a person who feels like, all right, I'm not the best thing in the world yet. Let's put that exclamation point or question mark, whichever one it is. But I'm going to work on that. And the person I want to become is this. I love vision boards. If you don't believe in vision boards, then vision boards don't mean that you got to get the cartulina. You don't got to go to the dollar store and get the car. You know, you don't got to do all that. You can do it on your phone. Create
Yeah.
a picture collage of all of the things you want to be. Don't live in the past. I'm going to check ChristinA real quick because she was like, I had gained all this weight and I wanted to be the old ChristinA. No, she don't. No, she don't. Don't let her lie to y'all. Nobody wants to be that old person. We believe we want to be that old person because we go back to a place where we felt comfortable, right? And it's the place that you felt in control. You want to be able to attain those skills and those abilities again, but you want to bring them into the here and now. You want to use them in who I am today, because I don't want to be who I was 20 years ago, right? Because the way I look at it now, 20 years ago, I didn't travel like I traveled, and I was broke, and now I'm feeling blessed. So right? So it's like balancing that out, right? Like, who do I like about? Yeah, I would love to be the lighter version of Amanda on that side, but on this side, I may be a heavier version. But this heavy version got blessings upon blessings. So I'd rather stay here. So it's about balancing that out, really. So finding what your weaknesses are. So so I can let you talk. Finding, finding what those weaknesses are and then attacking them slowly, right? One by one. We only we walk by 1 foot at a time. We don't jump places. So one step at a time, one thing at a time, consistently, and then seeing the change, and then that will motivate you to do the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And before you know it, I didn't have my voice. Oh, that's such in the past. Like, I don't even remember when I didn't have my voice.
Damn, you good.
I've been blessed.
I love that little mermaid analogy. You're sitting there, and I'm like, yeah.
It
I
hit
didn't
me. I
think
was
of
just
that.
like, okay, when I send you the email, like, do you want me to prep something? And I was like, yo, let me just think this through. And that's what happens, right? I sit with clients and I make connections, right? Situations aren't the same, but we base our lives on feelings, right? I've used this scenario before. If you think about when you break up with someone, because everyone has been through some sort of breakup, right? Your first heartbreak, your first, like, oh my God, I want to die, I can't live with this person. Even though you didn't care about that person as much, you feel some of that because it's just natural for your mind and your body to go back to a place of comfort or familiarity, right? Where it's just like, oh, but I didn't even care for this person that much. I really didn't. Like, it's, it's not that big of a deal, but we go to a place of costumbre, like customs, right?
Yeah.
And we forget that, like, oh yeah, no, that's not the same situation. And then when we analyze it by going through it rather than avoiding or filling the void with other people and things, like, if we go through it and go like, this is the pain I need to feel, I need to understand why I did this, how I did it, why I didn't notice the changes that were happening, where I avoided myself and ignored myself. Pay attention to that. And once you get through that, you can be like, all right, I'm good, I can move forward.
Awesome. You're awesome. Jeez. We're gonna put her in like a box with like a bow, people, and just like keep her in there. Just keep her in
No,
the
that's
box.
I can't fly on a plane like that.
We are at the halfway point, people, 4 minutes after, but we are okay with that because, like I always say, it's my show. I stay on as long as I want. Just a reminder to folks who are just joining us, welcome to Maris. I see you, and Nancy, and everyone who has joined us tonight. Carmen Gonzalez, we see you. We appreciate you. As per always, everybody who is watching, we have one goal, and that is to always help those who are dealing with domestic violence. So you or anyone you know is dealing with domestic violence, you can call that line crawling across the screen, National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. You can reach us on the web at loveshouldnothurt.com. We will have a new website soon. We are working on that. Since we are at the halfway point, before we continue with this amazing conversation, we're going to do some reminiscing of this weekend. We were able to represent Love Shouldn't Hurt for the first time in the Puerto Rican Day Parade. We had a good time. So here's a little click back to this Sunday. Woo! We had a good time. A part of what we do at Love Shouldn't Hurt not only is getting here and being on the show and answering calls and answering emails, but we also like to make sure that we get out in our community and we educate folks in the community on domestic violence. It was an amazing time for all of us. We hope that next year we will have a bigger crowd and more people join us, but it was a great time. And one of the biggest things that I could take away from Sunday was how many people in the community who stopped to talk to us. They saw our shirts and they were like, what does that stand for? And we explained and they were like, oh my God. Or there were people who came up to us that were like, we watch your show. We love your guests. We love what you're doing. We had men like the firefighters coming to us like, yo, what you guys are doing is amazing. The city needs this. Continue. We had council people come up to us, different senators. So it was an amazing time. We had a good time. I appreciate the team who came out to share in that moment with us. So that's a little bit of our Sunday. So I saw Marilyn put a comment up there. Marilyn Del Valle, she says, definitely seeking help, professional help, and out of your comfort zone is best. Sometimes we rely on family for help, but they may not understand how to help because they don't know what you're going through. Absolutely. That's major. I think a lot of the times when I speak to people like Evelyn or my sister or different people who talk about it, their responses are always, we had no idea what to do for you. I mean, I think it was more difficult for them because when they asked, I denied it. I always said that, no, I'm good. He doesn't come to events because he doesn't like to come to different events, but I'm good. And people knew, people could feel what was going on. They could feel I was going through something, but I kind of kept it to myself. So in turn, it was really difficult for them to help. So absolutely, if they may not know. So people like Amanda or or people in that field are definitely, you should always seek help. I'm big on it. I know that at the time I wasn't because I felt hindered and held back from getting help from anyone because I was just in a scared place. But I think now that I'm out of it, I'm big on telling people, find somebody to help. That is what we're here for.
And just to say this out loud for folks who need to hear this, but you could also use the hotline for just to get you through that night. Like
Yeah.
people think the hotline is only for when I'm ready to get out or when it was a crisis situation. Like if it's a night that you are just like contemplating leaving. I mean, I've manned hotlines for years.
Mhm.
And sometimes it was just having the conversation of like, do you have a safety place? Do you have
Mhm.
your documents? Do you know what are your fears of like removing yourself from this situation? And
Mhm.
no one had asked them that, right? Because everyone wants to, and it's not a blame or a shaming game at all, but we
Mhm.
want to just be rescuers, right? Well, come on, I got you, right? But what does I got you mean? If your sisters or your gomai or someone had come to you and said, you're leaving right now, we're taking you and the baby are coming and you're leaving, you would have ended up right back.
Mhm.
You would have ended up right. And we hear this story like, listen, people don't just make up that this happens every single time. It's because we cannot provide what this circumstance provides for that person.
Mhm.
And if they're opening up to us, it is just like, I'm struggling with getting an analogy for this, but it's about taking it slow, right? And just like, waiting. You know what? I actually found a good one that I like. It's like a good bottle of wine, right? You need to let it go through its process. You need to let it sit in the barrel. You need to be able, what I mean? You might pour a little bit to taste. And that's that's the survivor, pouring a little bit to see if I'm ready, pouring a little bit more. No, it doesn't taste right. I like being here. It's comfortable. It's warm in this barrel. Like, I just want to be here with my grapes, right? And if they come to you as a family member, you're like, no, let's grab your stuff. Let's pour it all out. I got all these pictures. We can just deal with it. And then you're not ready. And guess what? You take the pictures and you pour it right back in the barrel.
Yeah.
So until they're ready they themselves bottle themselves and dress themselves in the beauty of what they are and what they have become, whatever that is, broken, shattered, or put together, they're not going to take that step. And part of finding the voice is pre-leaving. And that's what I'm trying to get at. So like, use the hotline, start using someone who's non-judgmental, who's not related to you, who you feel isn't going to judge you. Because I know that even though family doesn't mean to judge, some of the things we say and do are judgy, are perceived as judgy. And I put myself there. I know. And sometimes I have to say, and she knows, because I'll be like, my bad. Like, I just, I get mad or I get upset that like you're in this place, and I don't mean to her, I just anyone, like I get upset because I love or care for you, and I might say something that's hurtful. But on the hotline, call anytime. They're going to answer. They're going to listen to you. And the people who are doing this have a passion for this. It's not like you're calling a hotline for customer service and then they hate talking to you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Damn. I wish I could be on here all night with her, but you should hear her on a regular night out, folks.
Wine.
It was so wine. So another nice quote that I pulled from the third article, because I thought it was awesome, was each reclaimed loss builds strength and empowerment. I thought that was an amazing one. I was like, I think I need to live by that.
But you need a reminder, ChristinA, like, and that's what we forget, right? And that's the through it thing. That's the through it thing. Like, that's the what did I do? How did I do it? When did I do it? Where did I do it? So that I don't repeat it.
Yeah.
Right. But if you guys are like, no, I don't know. Right. It's just.
Absolutely. So I have two more things that I had the screenshot because it was long. Screenshot from the second article. And then I have 3 of the greatest moments from survivors who have walked away. So 3 of their greatest moments now that they have walked away. So in the article, this one says, small wins are everything. There are thousands of losses within the loss of yourself in an abusive relationship. Each reclaimed loss builds strength and empowerment. Post-traumatic growth looks like survivors finding their way back to their intuition and learning to trust themselves in the world again. Healing the relationship with yourself will shape all other relationships in your life. This also provides the space for survivors to reclaim their narrative, there's your word, and choose to live their lives in a way that's meaningful to them.
And I'm gonna end that quote with saying, it's not about who you were, it's about who you want to be and who you are. And in that moment, deciding, and I want to be X, Y, and Z, and figuring out then what are the steps I need to get there. Because living in who you were is going to keep you captive, and it's going to keep you, self-bound. And you want to be able to create a new narrative with the information and the data that you have, and the skills and the strengths and the ability that you built. Because every survivor of domestic violence is a resilient human being, which means that they have been able to overcome adversity and survived it, hence the word survivor. So now it's about like, how do I use those tools and those things to ignite, motivate, and move me towards this new person I'm going to become?
Absolutely. Damn, she's the bomb. Y'all tell I like her. So these are 3 things that survivors say after they left, what their greatest moments were. One was, my small win was when I didn't feel ashamed of my words anymore. She was able to speak freely and she didn't feel small or minimized by this person. Another said, I found the relationship I've always dreamed of with someone who accepts me when I finally let go of the narrative that everyone was the same.
Mhm.
The third one was, I finally got my own apartment, which to
Maybe.
some may seem small.
No, that's great.
But when you are living with someone for years and years and you're dependent on them for their money, for
Mhm.
your living space, and knowing that you can't go anywhere else but to survive just with them, finding your own apartment is amazing and it's huge for a lot of people. I get that question all the time from people. How do I get out? And it's funny because there's something that you said in there that reminded me of a conversation we had with another guest a long time ago. She happens to be my little sister. And she said on the show that though for years she thought I was going through it, she never pushed me to do one or the other because I was never going to leave until it was my final line in the sand. She said, you had to have that moment in the sand, Chrissy. Until you had it, nothing any of us said was going to help you. You were never going to leave. You were never going to do anything that we said. So it was difficult
Yeah.
because you needed to find that moment. And in finding that moment is another part of getting my voice back at that time.
1000%, because it's about accountability. If I made you leave, you can blame me for whatever happens next.
Yes.
If you leave, the only person you can hold accountable is
Yourself.
yourself, right? And that's what it's about. And then if you return, it's about you. Versus if I make you leave or anyone makes you leave, it's like, well, I didn't want to leave. I wasn't ready to leave. They told me I had to leave. So
Yeah.
I did it. And then, that just can go down a spiral that you don't want to. So accountability
Yeah.
and self-awareness and accountability is great. Number two, if you could repeat it, but what I
Mhm.
want to say is that it reminded me
Oh,
of
it's itchy.
April's book. The one about when you said the number two, when you said about finding a
The
loving.
relationship.
Mhm.
I found the relationship I've always dreamed of with someone who accepts me when I changed the narrative and learned that not everyone is the same.
And it reminded me of when we hosted the book with April, and
Mhm.
she talked about like finding her husband, and her
Mhm.
husband saying to her, like, I need someone who loves themselves. Like, I'm not whoever in your past.
Yeah.
Like, I deserve a level of respect and love that's here. But
Mhm.
I also need you to have the same level of respect for yourself there. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not quoting it. I'm messing it up, but it was beautiful
It was.
that there was a person in her life who held her to a standard that
Yeah.
she was portraying, because it's like she was portraying it but not acting it, not living it,
Yeah.
right? And then being able to accept it was the other thing I was going to say. That is a milestone when you're able to accept something that's healthy and not toxic. Ooh, child, that is powerful.
It is, absolutely. Well, listen, we've had a whole lot of fun. We're already at the 49 mark. So I'm going to read this last one because I thought that it was amazing. And that's going to take us into our 50 minutes, which means that Amanda will be on the screen by herself, giving us our final thought. Nancy wrote something, so I want to just put that up there so we acknowledge her. She said, yes, that was a great segment with April. It was a deep, real talk. It
Mhm.
was. If you guys have not gone out there and looked for the book, you can go on to Amazon, purchase my girl's book because it was amazing. And she will be on the show again in the next few weeks. She is April Hernandez, if you don't know who she is. She was on Law and Order, Freedom Writers, all of them. But her book, which is a beautiful book, is on Amazon. So look her up and go purchase the book because it was bomb.
Mhm.
So the last thing I'm going to read is from the final article that said, it's important to note that every domestic violence survivor has a unique story, and after isn't always clear or safe. Often abusers become more violent after you leave, and research shows the end of a relationship is actually the most dangerous time for survivors. Absolutely. The road to safety and healing can be long and complex, riddled with court battles, debt, insecurity, and struggles with physical health. We've said that, mental health, and substance abuse. Recovering your self esteem and security can be an ongoing, challenging process. But looking back on my past self, the girl who was devastated by the end of her relationship and struggled to recover for so long, I wish I'd known just how much there was to look forward to. I wish someone had taken me aside and told me how much life could be better the moment I walked away.
Mhm.
I'm going to leave us with that. And I'm going to go off the screen, Mujerota, so that you can have your moment to give us your final thoughts.
So, mi gente, como siempre, I love being here with you guys. It is really fun. I really get sad when I don't get to come. But in regards to the topic of getting my voice back, I want to remind you guys of about a couple of things, right? Is be kind to yourself. If we cannot be kind to ourselves, how do we hold someone else accountable to doing that? Set boundaries and standards for what you want, what you need, and answer the question, who am I? Where am I? When am I these things? Answer the 5W how questions for yourself. Personalize it. Make it about you. Write it down. Shout it out. Make up a song. Whatever your talent, skill, strength is, focus it on you and internalize it. Because getting your voice back is not just about the actual voice, it's about being able to stand on that head high and be able to go through life with the new struggles that are going to come, and that to know that who you were in the past is not who you are in the future or who you currently are right now. Take care of your emotional self, your mental self, your physical self. Go for walks, go have brunch with family and friends, go for a spin just to feel the fall weather. Do things that you actually enjoy so that you can start to reconnect with yourself. Date yourself. And if you don't know what I mean by that, is go catch a matinee movie by yourself and sit and eat your bag of popcorn by yourself. And it's okay. Go to a restaurant, go at a time where you don't feel awkward and sit and have an appetizer by yourself and just sit with your thoughts. No cell phone, no Instagram, no Facebook. Just be one with yourself, and you'll be able to figure out what it is that you want and then who you are. Like always, love all my love shouldn't hurt folks, and be kind to yourself. And like always, love conquers all. Bye.
Qué linda. You're talking and I'm in the bathroom background like, yeah.
I know you usually blush, and you're always like making me blush.
It's because I don't want to be the only one who's red, because this light got me hot. Someone said affirmations, and I know that you're big on affirmations, so I had to put that up there because I know that that's something that you do. Affirmations are amazing. We got to start telling ourselves every morning that I'm bomb and I'm beautiful and I'm focused and I can do this, because every day that I get up for my new job, I got to give myself that pep talk. You got to tell yourself you could do this. You got to tell yourself that you can get through it. That's the only way you're going to be able to get that voice back. You got to diminish the lessons that you learned that were negative and start giving yourself some positive ones, but do them for yourself. All right, we're going to send this to the back so I can be quiet. And then we're going to come back and say goodbye together. Mi gente lindo, I love when you guys are here. Thank you for being such amazing audience members. Daisy, I'm sorry. On my end, it says Facebook user. It doesn't show your name. I don't know why. Blame Facebook. But thank you so much, beautiful woman. She is always with positive affirmations. Go follow her. Anyway, I hope you guys had a good night. We have great shows coming up. We have another men's perspective with different men who have reached out to me to be on the show because they want to give their perspective on what men think. So we have that coming up. We are bringing April back. We are going to get her back on here, and Betty D and all these amazing women who want to give us a lot of their energy and love on the show. I hope you enjoyed tonight. I always enjoy when Amanda's here because she always does give us the best perspective, clinical perspective, experience, all the knowledge that this woman has. I love when she comes on because she brings it to us, folks. So I hope you enjoyed tonight. If anything that you remember, just be good to yourself. And I say this to myself and to all of you. Be good to yourself. We may not be where we thought we should have been, but we are getting there slowly but surely. And the only way we can do that is by believing in ourselves and just being positive. Change that narrative, people. I did it. You can do it too. Get your voice back and try to be a better person than who you thought you were yesterday. The only competition you have these days is yourself. So continue to be positive for yourself. Some announcements. Woo! I don't know if you know, but if you follow me, you know, in 2 weeks, we will be celebrating 4 years of existence. 4 years ago today, we became Love Shouldn't Hurt, the organization, October 2018, and I am so excited. So if you have not seen the flyer and you're like, what is she talking about? You need to know, because we are having, and Amanda loves her some networking, so we'll see if we can get her there. We're going to try to get her to come out to this event. We are having a networking event, folks, and you are all welcome. We will be at the Crescent Inn in Manayunk on October 3rd. So next Monday from 5 to 9 p.m., free entry, folks. There'll be a buffet, raffles. We will have a nice fishbowl there so you can drop your business cards in there. We have a lot of people who will be joining us. I am super excited because the RSVP list is going up. Folks are saying, but it's free. Why am I RSVPing? Because mi gente, we want to make sure we have enough food to feed everyone who's there. So please go to my page, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, and RSVP on our Eventbrite. Our numbers are going up, and I'm super excited to see you all. Not only, though, are we networking with a lot of amazing people in our community, we are celebrating 4 years in existence. We are so thankful for our committee member, Jen Gomez of Gomez Law Group. She is sponsoring this event. So come and join us October 3rd from 5 to 9. It's a Monday, folks. It's okay. It's at 9 o'clock. You can still get home and get some sleep. You don't got to drink that much. We're just networking, people. But come out and join us. We are celebrating 4 years, and I'm so excited for us to be getting to this accomplishment. So if you were watching in the past few weeks, you know that we have had a lot of issues finding a venue for our gala. So we, as a committee, decided to make a huge change. We've announced it twice, but I don't know who's watching. So we want to remind everyone that we have found our home for this year's gala, but it won't be this year. That's why we're having these different events so we can continue to teach the community about what we do. Our new date is March 18th, and we will be at the Waterfall Room in Southampton Road. The location is beautiful, and we are super excited. We are being hosted by them, and we are excited to have DJ Dro, who will be our DJ this year. Our after party will still be at Islas. Eventbrite is up. You can begin to buy tickets. We know that it's March, but we want to make sure you get in there because this year our VIP guests will have their own hour. We will have a violinist. We will have a lot of exciting things during our VIP hour. And our official gala will run from 7 to 11 p.m. We're super, super excited to have our gala because we have done so much prepping. We have so many amazing contacts, and we are just thankful and grateful to all of our sponsors. A huge shout out to Maria Quinones, who is our mayor-elect. She is one of our very big sponsors. She is a huge supporter, and she is supporting us in a very big way this year. So we have to give a huge shout out to Maria Quinones. She is part of making this gala happen. So we are super excited. You can get on there and start looking for your tickets. Start finding a dress because it's going to be nicer weather outside. So you don't got to be all covered up. You can be elegant and sexy. So make sure that you can be there and be there to support us. Listen, make sure you're there next Monday because we're going to have a lot of exciting things at our networking event. I'm going to bring my Fiera Latina back so we can say goodbye. Make sure you tune in to us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. You're back there laughing. I saw you. You're muted.
Leave it to me. I'm laughing because I'm like, you're like all this energy and all this stuff, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get her there, and I'm like, I'm with Ellie. I can't make it. I teach on Monday nights now. That's why I could be here tonight.
Oh
So
man, that's all right.
I'm
That's all right. I'm gonna like call your job and tell them like I don't know, like I'm like a family member and I got run over by a car.
No, oh my God, no. Listen, my students will probably
I'm
not care,
joking.
but yeah.
I told y'all she got credentials, y'all. I told y'all she does a lot of amazing things. It's okay. We'll just like FaceTime her and then we can say hi to her students and stuff. But everybody else, make sure you are there because we are celebrating our 4 years, and that is major for us. When we started this venture, it was just a documentary, and we are 4 years in with major support by our community. And there's going to be a lot of amazing people. When I'm seeing the people RSVPing, I'm like, yes. So please join us at the Crescent Inn October 3rd, 5 to 9 people. Thank you for being here with us, Jennifer. We forgive you. She says she's doing schoolwork. She couldn't make the whole show. You can watch it on Facebook or YouTube later. It was great. Have a good night, everyone. We will see you next week, next Tuesday, same time, 7 p.m. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much for